Hi everyone, it's your favourite Atomic Blonde here. How is everybody? So hope you're all well. We're firmly into December now, countdown to the end of the year. Yeah, I haven't done a video for a little while, so I've done a flurry, I think about 2 weeks of videos. And then to be fair, there just really hasn't been much to talk about from my perspective. We had a flurry of new shows and films. Then it sort of went a bit, not much going on. I mean, Hollywood and Rachel Zegler just continues to put a foot in it. Seems to be quite a bit of a big backlash going on there. Lots of Americans still saying that they're going to leave and come to the UK. Please don't. Please don't. We have enough of our own idiots over here. We don't need Hollywoods as well. We have our own problems right now. without the the scourge of Hollywood coming over. But anyway, as I said, I hope you're all good. Today is, I guess, just a bit of I was literally like, oh God, is there anything to talk about this week? Even, there's things that pretty much all the other channels have already covered. Stuff that say the Zegler stuff, it's just stupidity. So I'm just not really like bothered about chatting that stuff too much. I will touch on it, obviously, because more from the film perspective, but her as an individual, let's not give her any more attention than she's got. But I was like in two minds whether to jump on and just have a bit of a ramble with you guys. And then this happened. This trailer dropped yesterday, teaser trailer for 28 Years Later. So for anybody who doesn't know, back in the noughties, I think it was, early noughties, Danny Boyle and Alex Garland wrote 28 Days Later. And it starts off with a group of activists breaking into a laboratory to release the animals that are there. And this is something like a lot of people, obviously, I'm not a big fan of animal testing. And you kind of get that there, and I've always had this view, even as a kid, that I don't agree with it, but just letting stuff out of labs is never a good idea, because you just don't know what you're letting out. So anyway, the monkey was contaminated with what they call the rage virus, that just sort of makes people, well, as it says, like rage, but like uncontrollable anger and violence, but also this urge to eat flesh or bite flesh or have blood, and basically this urge to pass on the virus. So it's sort of zombie-ish, but they're not actually dead. And what makes it so deadly is that these creatures are very fast. It's the first time we saw like running zombies, and they literally, you turn within seconds of being bitten. And it's not just being bitten. If you absorb any blood, so if blood gets in your mouth, there's one scene in the film where just one drop of blood drips down and just gets into the guy's eye, and then that's it, boom, within seconds he's turned. So it's incredibly fast spreading. Started obviously like Cillian Murphy, great film, and kind of, I guess, sort of brought back I say zombie, but that kind of genre. Then we got 28 Weeks Later, which followed on. Not written by Alex Garland or Danny Boyle. They were executive producers on it, starring Robert Carlyle. A bit of a shift. So after basically the UK got overrun by the virus, and there was no people left. Either they'd all died or been evacuated. The creatures basically starved to death. After 5 weeks, they starved to death. So effectively, England was free of the virus. The Americans have come in. They're clearing London. They've converted Canary Wharf into this safe zone. And things don't go to plan. I mean, there's some real contrivances in that film, and just some real stupid. So basically, they find a survivor. I won't say too much because it's a bit of to do with the plot, but they find a survivor who's been bitten but is not displaying the virus, so she's potentially naturally immune. She's a carrier but potentially immune. Now, rather than examining this person, looking after them outside of this, they bring her into the secure zone where there's like families and children, and they're trying to rebuild things. So rather than doing it safely away from all these people, so if it kind of goes tits up, you haven't got a mass population to infect. No, let's just bring her straight into the safe zone. We don't really know what's going on. We're not sure she's infected or not. So, of course, it all turns to shit. And by the end of 28 weeks later, the virus is spread to France. We sit right at the very end, that they're sort of storming in front of the Eiffel Tower. So now we have 28 years later. It is a return of Alex Garland and as writer and Danny Boyle director. And the trailer was an absolute banger. I would show it, but it's Sony, so I'll probably get copyright strike. Go check it out if you have not seen it. It's got a guy reading this Rudyard Kipling poem called Boots. I've read a few things online saying this is like used as part of marine training or in the army as sort of psychological training. It's quite a harrowing thing, especially the guy that's reading it. And there's a quick recap. So it's sort of from 28 days to 28 weeks and then to now, and basically what ends, how does humanity end up in this situation? Because we kind of say left at the end of the last one that basically this was going to spread around the globe, or certainly across Europe. So what happens to humanity when society's gone? How do we progress? It looks like we've got a great cast with like Ralph Fiennes, Aaron Taylor-Johnson. Could do a bit of I think after just as well he's got this coming out after Craven, because otherwise his career might be in the toilet. And apparently Cillian Murphy's back, as whether he's a prominent role or just cameo, we don't know. But it's great to see that, because obviously I think Cillian has worked with Danny Boyle a few times, and and it kind of really launched his cinematic career here. So really excited by the trailer. I must admit, when they announced this, I was a bit like, okay, where are they really going to go with that, right? Because the second film was good, but like I say, there's a lot of contrivances for stuff to happen, lots of stupid decisions. The first one, absolute banger. So yeah, I'm really excited for this coming out. It doesn't come out till June next year, so to get a teaser trailer 6 months before the film comes out, I think they're pretty confident. It certainly seems to be well received. Of course, there's always caution. The amount of times we have seen amazing trailers and the film is just like, what? but given who's written and heading this up are the same team that done the first film, I can't help but get my hopes up a little bit. So it looks something different. It looks like it's really progressed. The trailer just sort of showed it's a perfect trailer. It's not like they've explained the story and this is what's going to happen and then this happens, which in modern trailers they just give way too much away. But you know the tone. You kind of know to a degree what civilization's like now. That there doesn't appear to be technology. It looks to have gone right back to sort of basics, no machinery. Is there some sort of religious thing that has come out of this? What are we like as human beings? Have we lost our humanity, or are we still desperately clinging to our humanity to be better than the creatures? And how have the creatures evolved? How has the rage virus evolved? We've got all these questions, but the trailer is just enough that says you can see into this world, and and certainly for me, can't speak for anybody else, but I want to know more about this world. I want to know what's happened. Where are we? What's happened to the virus? Are there any places in the world where the virus is extinct? Don't know, but I'm so excited for this. I'm sure we'll get more trailers. I'm kind of hoping actually the trailers that come out don't tell us much more about the story or what we're going to get. That, you know, it's just more about sort of showing us a bit more about world building rather than plopping us into some sort of action or dialogue. So really excited by this. Absolutely fantastic. Love to know your thoughts. Are you fans of the previous two films, of the director? I mean, obviously Alex Garland's a bit of a mixed bag in terms of his films, and his previous film was Civil War. But let's hope this is a return to form. Let's hope this is they're able to really springboard. I believe they're going to do another two films after this. It's going to be like a new trilogy. Obviously, I guess that very much depends on how well this does. But if the film is halfway as good as the trailer, I think we're in for a really, really good film. So let me know your thoughts. And watch this space. Yes, keep an eye on what happens. So yeah, 28 years later. Other films, I think I briefly touched on this before, but as we're getting closer, Nosferatu, Robert Eggers, really excited to see this. I think it's Robert Eggers, isn't it? Yeah. Is it? I'm in brain fog. Anyway, obviously it's a retelling of the Dracula story. I think some critics have seen this, and it seems to be some quite positive reaction coming out. Gutted to find out we're not getting this till the 1st of January in the UK. I think it comes out Boxing Day in the States. That's the 26th of December if you're not British. So yeah, gonna have to wait a few more days and try and avoid spoilers. But yeah, I'm really excited for this. The trailers look great. Looks very atmospheric, very gothic. And I love that gothic horror. I'm a big fan of Dracula anyway, especially Francis Ford Coppola's version. So yeah, really excited for this, and so there's some quite positive murmurings coming out, which is great as well. So I'm not a big New Year's Eve person, so I should be famous words, fresh as a daisy, shall we say, New Year's Day. So yeah, hopefully I will be trotting down to my local cinema to go see this on New Year's Day, and as ever I will let you know what I think. But are you excited for this film? Are you fed up of seeing reworks of Dracula? Do you want something new? What's your thoughts on this? Let me know. As always, pop it in the comments and I will come back to you. So yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things sort of on the horizon. I was trying to think, you know, what else is coming out. I think anything else this year is not really my cup of tea. Well, I'm just like a bit too old for it, I guess. It's sort of kids' films and things. But Moana, you know, big opening weekend. Now gone off a cliff now. I think word of mouth's getting out that it's just not very good. Not a big shock there from Disney. We've got the disaster waiting to happen. You know, Captain America: Brave New World in, I think it's February next year. And the release is 2 3/4 hours. 2 3/4 hours of something that's not meant to be very good at all, which is just crazy. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one, but I'm really not excited for that at all. And then initially, as these things always happen, I was initially quite excited, well, fleetingly, because the same thing happens every time, right? We kind of get this, oh, someone's going to do an adaptation of this, and you kind of go, oh, but it's now, isn't it? It's sort of modern times. Do we really want that? I'm not sure we do. So the latest one for me in that kind of era, or the adaptations, is Narnia, Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. So Greta Gerwig, sorry, wrong Greta, is going to be directing and writing, I believe, the adaptations. This is the woman that brought us Barbie, the most unintentionally based film, but accidentally promoted completely all the wrong messages. And everybody loves Ken, which I don't think was the idea. But hey, maybe she's more based than we think she is. Now, this headline is how to say we're making this for the modern audience without saying we're making it for the modern audience. So Barbie's director, Narnia movie will be all about rock and roll. Now, for anybody who's never seen or read The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe and the subsequent books, these are set in the 1940s during the Blitz. Certainly The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe is set during the Blitz. The children in it have obviously been evacuated out of London. And while on this estate, they're playing hide and seek, finds a wardrobe, go into the wardrobe, and woof, you're in the land of Narnia. Which, like, as a kid, like, I was bought these books as a kid, and I read them so many times. I mean, that was every kid's dream, wasn't it? That you could just step into another world and escape the life that you were in. Well, it certainly was my dream. So I absolutely adored these books, and most people know, I think, like, C.S. Lewis was quite a religious man. He was a Christian, but he had very thoughts around religion, even though he was religious. But he kind of had a bit more of a, I guess, almost like everybody should kind of follow the same thing, and we should be more tolerant of other religions, and religion should stand for the right things, like in the purest way that I guess religion does. Most religions teach to, like, peace and love to all and love thy neighbor and all these kind of things, right? But the reality of how these teachings are taken and exploited, we're seeing this on a daily basis. And C.S. Lewis grew up in Belfast, so a lot of his views were driven through growing up with the Troubles, as they're called now, and sectarianism. So with a modern view, I guess a lot of people read this series now and says he's anti-Muslim or Islamic religion. I don't. I think it's more like every argument, it's more nuanced than that. And if you read into it a lot and read what he said, like I say, he kind of had this view that there should be sort of like one sort of kind of Christianity type thing, and a lot of where the anti-Islamic stuff comes in is he had obviously there was like a war within the Narnia books, and the perceived bad guys were of kind of like, you could read the descriptions and how described of Middle Eastern descent versus like the sort of white Anglophile crusaders with the good guys. But within even the books, there's nuances that they're not all inherently bad, and they're not all inherently good. There's bad bad on the good side and good on the bad side. But say a lot of his views were that with any religion, and what we're still seeing now, unfortunately, is, and especially when this came from the Troubles, is this inherent, we hate this person or this country or this culture is inherently evil because it is, going back hundreds of years, even thousands of years, and that every generation is just continually taught the same thing, and to hate the other side even though they don't know why they hate them, or there's certain things that they're told to hate about those people. And he found that evil in itself, because he's like, say, religion was all about acceptance and tolerance and peace and all these things, but how we see religion is massively divisive and constantly turning people against each other based on generation after generation being brought up to hate hate the same enemy, even if they don't even understand why anymore. So there's a lot of nuance. Go have a read, look online, read up about this. Some people take it as he's anti-Islam. I think he's anti, not just Islam, but not maybe anti, but he just, you have to read it. It's a very nuanced view around his views on religion and what religion should look like and how it's actually portrayed. So enough about that, but I just wanted to talk about that briefly because I think a lot of rhetoric will come up about C.S. Lewis being Islamophobe. Obviously that term didn't even exist when he was writing these books, and he does have views on it, and I'm necessarily saying he's correct in all of those views, but like anything, it's much more nuanced than that. So go have a read, find out for yourself. Always very important that you find out for yourselves about this stuff. So that aside, so when she's talking about it's all about rock and roll, so now we're all like, well, is she going to change the decade that it's set in? Is she going to make it more a musical, which I flipping hope not, because I hate musicals and I think it would just ruin it. Or are they just, making it for the modern audience? And because of things I just talk about, that there's some very Christian undertones in this. The whole Aslan the Lion is an interpretation of sort of like Jesus and dying and resurrection and all that. So they're going to strip out all religious content of this. And again, will we probably see, I think what we'll see is probably a removal of the different countries or the different parties, and they'll probably be all diverse and all different colors and creeds. So to try and remove all of this, I think. So like anything, these have a beautiful charm to them, like say written in the 50s, set in the 40s, about the war in Britain at the time, the Blitz, and growing up around that and the politics of that, and how these children go on this amazing adventure and grow up and become kings and queens in Narnia, and how they lead armies, and they're all developed, and I think a lot of this will be completely stripped away. So this is an article from is it Kotaku, I think, but based on an article that's actually in Deadline. So this is taken straight from Deadline, with her talking about it. So everybody's sort of a bit head scratching at the moment, like, what does she mean by that comment? Based on, say, I think potentially we're going to end up with another Rings of Power here if we're not careful. Once they stripped out all the sort of Catholicism from Tolkien's books, because it's all too, we don't like talking about that stuff anymore, and let's throw away all the morals that come with all of that. Like I say, I am not a religious person, so I'm not here banging the drum saying this religious content needs to be in here, but there is a lot of fundamentals or ethos to the story and how the stories are told and portrayed, that are very integral to the story. So this makes me incredibly nervous. And the thing is, like, the Lucy and Susan are of their time in some respects, but they're also massively ahead of their time. Like they grow up to, say, be queens of Narnia, and they're very wise and strong, and but feminine, and they use their brains, and they're clever, and all these kind of things. And I'm just worried, they're just going to strip all that out. They'll be the girl bosses. Edward and his brother will just be, Peter will just be reduced to numpties and can't do anything without the girls. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I need to give her a bit more credit, but I just don't know how you can make Narnia rock and roll. You shouldn't make Narnia rock and roll. The most literal thing is she's going to make it a musical. If everything else remains the same, I mean, I guess so, but no. It's a no from me. So I think we just have to keep an eye on it, see what starts coming out, who's getting cast, what does the casting look like. That will be a massive indication as to where they're going to take this, what things they're going to keep, what they're going to remove. We'll have to wait and see. Excuse me. So jury's out on The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe right now, guys. So we will have to wait and see there. So the other thing is, obviously, we've been getting information filtering through about Doctor Who. That those who follow been with me for a while, I loved Doctor Who. The last Capaldi era is very hit and miss, but there's some great stuff in there. And post that, I was out. I tried to watch it, just couldn't get into the Jodie era at all. I thought she was awful. But then, as I've said in this channel many times, I wasn't a fan of her as an actress before Doctor Who. I thought she was massively overrated, but yeah, let's not get into that today. And when they originally announced that RTD was coming back, I was very excited. I love his work outside of Doctor Who, and obviously the original Doctor Who, or the new Who. And even announcing Ncuti and Millie, I was excited for that. I mean, I thought he could be a great eccentric doctor, really bring something new to the role in terms of this, of where it could go, that, having seen him in other things. And then what we got was so disappointing. I mean, the Christmas special, I didn't watch Christmas Day. I didn't want to ruin my Christmas Day. I'm glad I didn't watch a Christmas Day. It was absolutely nothing burger. And it was just like, what the hell is this? And it really set the tone for what we were going to get in season 1. I dipped in and out of season 1, but I pretty much gave up on it. I just thought the acting wasn't great. The writing was dire. We just kind of lost all the sci-fi, the allegory, the cleverness. And the thing I hate most is how humanized they've made the Doctor. They've completely lost sight of the fact that he's supposed to be an alien and doesn't have the same values as us. He doesn't have the same emotions of us. He doesn't react in the same way as us, which we've seen time and time again in other episodes, like where his companion has had to point out that, Doctor, that's not an appropriate way to behave. You're supposed to be upset, or you're supposed to say sorry, and it just goes over his head because he's an alien. And all of that is gone. You just got Ncuti running around crying at the drop of a hat. Anyway, I mean, I've covered this in other discussions, so I don't want to dwell on that too much. It looks like we're not going to get a season 3. Shocker. Because we don't know, but we've got a pretty good inclination that season 2 rating is going to be worse than season 1. The fact that they shot them back to back was probably a mistake. I'd say it's a mistake in terms of they would have had time to course correct, but based on everything that RTD's saying, he would have course corrected anyway. He would have quadrupled down and carried on giving us this same nonsense. So I think, as much as we all love Doctor Who, it probably won't be a bad thing if it is cancelled and shelved for another decade. They had the opportunity to bring this show back and completely ballsed it up. So, and it's a shame because, like I say, I was really excited for Ncuti's casting. I think he definitely had the opportunity to have knocked it out the park, but he wasn't given the materials, the stories, and the direction he's been given of how to play the Doctor, I think, is shocking. So, hey ho. Now, what that leads me to, because there is actually a point to this ramble, is there's an interview with Stephen Moffat, who has written the Christmas special, and obviously former showrunner as well. For the obviously he wrote standalone episodes for the RTD years, and then took over showrunner for Matt Smith. He created the Weeping Angels. like them all. Let me just bring the article up. So there's just this one point I just wanted to pull out of the article. He's basically talking about the potential of Doctor Who getting cancelled and the pressure, and and he's talking about how TV's watched. So again, he's trying to play down the poor ratings, saying that people don't. I mean, again, it's like people don't watch TV the way they used to. You need to look at the overall ratings after like 3 or 4 months, which is ridiculous because I'd say maybe a couple of months, if people want to binge it. So I think last season we only had 8 episodes. So after 8 weeks, you could then say, here's the combined, ratings or watch time for the whole season to allow for people binging it. I still don't think it would give us good ratings, to be honest. And the thing is, with what we do see with live TV here in the UK, is that if there's something people want to watch, they will still watch it live. So you will see certain shows still getting ratings of 11 million people, 10 million people, whether that's like the Strictly Final or I'm a Celebrity, whatever it is. So people will still watch something live if they're interested in watching it. So yes, our TV habits have changed. Yes, how we watch TV has changed. But if we're really excited about something, like the Doctor Who Christmas Day, where people aren't going anywhere, you've had your dinner, your stuff, you're sitting down on the couch, you've got a captive audience, people would sit down and watch that, and would still sit down and watch it as a family if they were interested in watching it. So anyway, he's trying to talk around that. But this is one paragraph here that I've highlighted, and he says, basically the way he goes on to say is, this show's like really old. We've now kind of got three distinct periods. We've got classic Who, New Who, and New Who Part 2. But people have got access to all this stuff now. So people can go back and watch it and watch this good stuff. So he says, in a bizarre way, Doctor Who competes with itself now. Not just everything else on television, but 19 years of what I modestly call excellent Doctor Who. Just sitting there. And if you're bored of that lot, you've then 26 years of the classic series on the shelf. But if you're complaining about being the victim of your own enormous success, you could point to the words enormous success. Other shows don't have this problem. And I find that really interesting. So he's literally just saying, you've got all this amazing Doctor Who sitting there, and people would rather watch that than what they've got now. Is kind of what I don't think that's what he maybe meant to have said, that the old stuff is clearly better than what people are getting now. I don't think that's kind of what he meant. But for me, when he says Doctor Who competes with itself, that's a good thing. Doctor Who should compete with itself. And I don't understand this negativity to say, oh, but it's not fair because people can go back and watch all this good stuff while we're trying to make this new stuff. But if the new stuff was good and you're pushing the bar and you're pushing yourself to write something better that came before, competing with yourself's only a good thing. I mean, in all our careers and our jobs, we're constantly striving to improve ourselves and better ourselves and want to do better the next time round. So why should they be any different? I found this kind of a bit of a weird statement in terms of literally saying we've got all this fantastic history of Doctor Who and people would rather go watch that than what we're producing now. And nobody's asking themselves, well, why? Why would people want to go watch that? Clearly what you're writing now isn't good enough. So why not just take that on the chin and go, you know what, guys, we hear you. We've obviously made the next season back to back, so there's not much we can do about it now. And as it goes, like I say, it looks like we're not going to get a season 3, or if there is, I mean, certainly I don't think Disney are going to be paying for it. It's not paying them any money. BBC is always bleating how poor they are, despite the amount of money they're robbing off us for license fee. With the Conservative government in, we had quite a good chance of removing the license fee. I don't think that's going to happen now under Labour. I don't know. But it is definitely time to stop paying for the BBC. It drives me insane. I don't watch the BBC. There's probably about 3 shows I used to watch on the BBC. Doctor Who was one of them. I've stopped watching that. Strictly, I've stopped watching that. I watch the occasional thing. And MasterChef. And that's something I really don't want to get into with the whole Greg Wallace thing. So... And that looks like that's going to be shelved and pulled from our screens as well. So that really leaves nothing to watch on BBC for me. So, but yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. I just thought, I don't think he probably meant it to come across that clearly our back catalogue is better than our current catalogue. But that's really how it comes across. And he's like, it's not fair that we have to keep striving to write better stuff because people can go watch the old stuff. I mean, newsflash, we've had physical media for 4 years. People can still go watch the old stuff rather than watch the crap you're churning out. Hello? Anyway, so yes, I will not be watching Doctor Who on Christmas Day. I'm always slightly more, have a slight bit more confidence. I'm not sure that's even the right word, but if Moffat's writing it, his episodes tend to be a little bit more elevated than RTD's. But I'm really not holding out much hope for this at all. And Moffat is saying categorically, this is the last one I'm writing. I'm not getting involved in this anymore. I'm fed up with everybody attacking me like I got a barrage when I was showrunner before, because, we are fans. We are hard to keep happy, I know. And he's probably just like, I don't need this grief. Thanks very much, RTD. This is your problem. This is your baby. You set this train in motion. You deal with it. Can't blame the guy. So anyway, and it sounds like they're dropping season 2 earlier. I think it's going to be in summer next year. And if they drop it in the summer, then if the ratings are down, they can use the excuse it's summer and people are out and people aren't watching live TV to cover up the fact that the ratings are really bad. Yeah, we're not stupid. But I think it's time to say au revoir to Doctor Who. I think season 2 will be the nail in the coffin, I believe, but I have to wait and see. Hey, you never know. Lastly, just to wrap up, I'm just going to show you a few bits and bobs. Obviously, we had Black Friday the other week, and but also mainly I had things on pre-order, and the pre-orders have come through. So got my steelbook, Deadpool and Wolverine. So nothing much to say about that, but enjoyed the film. Got the steelbook. Only got the one. I'm not one of these people that has to get all the variants. I just don't have enough money to get all the variants. So I opted for the Deadpool cover rather than the Wolverine. So, now this one, I had to get this one. I always think like V for Vendetta, right? At some point, I'm going to end up getting arrested and carted off by the police for having this kind of content in my house. Yeah, Blazing Saddles, people, 4K, anniversary edition. I haven't even opened it yet. It's I need to have a look and get all these fantastic bits and pieces. You can see that there, like posters and cards, and obviously this comes with special features, etc. This film is just it was outrageous when it came, in a good way when it came out. It's even more outrageous now. Again, for anybody who is somewhat younger than myself, because I was only a kid when this came out. I got 70 something. But yes, I was allowed to watch it growing up. Of course I was. Gen X, man. So you get this lovely steelbook with it. And the point of this film is just lost on modern audiences. The whole point of this film was to show up racism and how kind of on the back of segregation ended in the US and all that kind of thing. I mean, the whole point is showing like the stupid nature of racism, right? But because they use the N word in this, back in the day, it's like one of the most outrageous things ever made, and the modern audiences go into seizures and clutching their pearls and actually missing the whole point that this is actually an anti-racist film and hilariously funny. It's childish. It's not saying I'm not a massive fan of American comedies, but I think a lot of Mel Brooks stuff is sort of, I think because he's like sort of fans of Monty Python and things like that, it does have a lot of sarcasm, a lot of toilet humor. I mean, the scene of them just eating beans and breaking wind around the fire is like, as a kid, wetting myself. It's the funniest thing you've ever seen. It's like total kid humor. Never grown out of it, but love it. So yes, I now have this contraband in my house. And the way the UK is going, say in a couple of years, I'll probably get arrested for owning it. So hey ho. Got my Terminator 4K steel book. Heard the transfer is not meant to be that great, unfortunately. But hey, it's the roll of the dice when we get 4K these days. Some are outstanding. Apparently this one's not so good, as you can see. Again, not opened it yet. So I'll have to let you know whether that's the case, but people with a better eye than I have said that, but won't ruin the film for me. I have to say, it's an absolute banger. Anybody, I can't believe not anyone on the planet who hasn't seen Terminator, the original 1984. Go check it out. And then lastly, one of my pre-orders, which is a bit ouch coming out in December because this was not cheap, is the fantastic Godzilla -1. You've got Godzilla -1, Godzilla minus color 4K, Godzilla -1 color 4K. Then I think it's the black and white Blu-ray, color Blu-ray. It's like four versions of it, basically. And this is just absolutely stunning. Oh, open this up for you so you can see that. And then a bonus DVD as well. So you got one 4K, two Blu-rays. Absolutely amazing. Saw this in the cinema. There is a review on the channel. Look at that. Look at that, beautiful. Look at that. This was not cheap. I think it was £67. But you get this lovely booklet with it as well, which is all about the sort of the story and the making of, and sort of these fantastic posters that they did for the release and all the different versions sort of around the world. And it's a lovely booklet and talking about the minus color. It's fantastic in the history of, like, say, Godzilla and Mothra and all those fantastic things. So I absolutely love this film. And I would say, like, you don't have to be into science fiction or creature features. The human element of this film is absolutely stunning, and absolutely brings a lump to your throat when you're telling the story of, after the end of the Second World War. You got a kamikaze pilot who basically didn't kamikaze, and he's living with the guilt of that. He's lost his family. He comes back to a bombed out Tokyo, and how all of that was recreated was absolutely amazing. So you kind of got this guy's struggle of coming to terms with what he didn't do in the war, how he's treated, losing his family against this sort of backdrop of Godzilla. It's a great film. I absolutely loved it. I didn't know whether I would, to be honest. I'm not a big kaiju person, but the human elements to this film just sucked me in. And then it's this lovely human story with this sort of backdrop of Godzilla. You can watch it that way, or you can absolutely be into your kaiju and you're watching all this metamorphosis happening to Godzilla with the backdrop of the human story. You can watch it either way, but I love this film, and it's currently on Netflix here in the UK. I think they have dubbed it now on Netflix. When I saw it at the cinema, it was in Japanese, but there is a dub version on Netflix, and I'm sure this has probably got dub versions on it as well. Try and watch it in Japanese if you can, but if it's really, really can't, then don't miss out and do watch the dub version. So that is that, people. And then last but not least, talking of Deadpool and Wolverine, and again, I've got absolutely shafted in December. So I had the Godzilla -1 come out, and then I got a notification to say, your Deadpool has shipped. I have no money, people. So, but this is absolutely fantastic. The Wolverine, I've also ordered. That's not due out till next year. It's very hard to show these on here because you get the reflection, but you've got this really weird baby Deadpool from the film. Obviously, you've got Deadpool. You've also got the kind of, I don't know if you can see that, just there, like the ghost head that was sort of floating around. You also get the amazing dog. You see, you got Dogpool down here. Was it maybe the ugliest dog in the UK or something? Little Dogpool. So you've got that. I need to sort of unbox this and sort it out. But yeah, it looks absolutely amazing. These are golden pistolas, which he loves. So it's turned into a very expensive month. Not that December's not expensive anyway, right? But really, really bad planning and pre-ordering on my part. But hey, Christmas presents herself and all of that. So yeah, when he's all unboxed, I will show you again. But yeah, looks absolutely brilliant. So hey ho, and so it's not just the price of these things. It's I used to get everything from Toys Wonderland, because it was like, I think, Australia distribution. We didn't have to pay import tax here in the UK. The last one I ordered, they basically taken my money and not sent me the figure, and it was the rocket and the dog from Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And I have been trying to get hold of them, and it just goes into a black hole. Nobody will talk to you. Nobody will reply. It's now called Toys Apollo as well. At least when it was Toys Wonderland, they would reply to you. Now it's Toys Apollo. I'm getting absolutely nothing. I've lost my money. I haven't got the figure. So I would say avoid at this point. Not best impressed, because these figures are not cheap. So I will continue to try and chase them down, but I'm not holding my breath. So, but the point of that story is this, because this is Sideshow, so I got it from Sideshow rather than going through Toys Apollo, and obviously that's US based. So I've also, on top of the figurine, I've got to pay just under £70 for import fees or whatever it is. They're just gonna have to wait till payday. As I said, bad planning on my part. Oh gosh, a bit warm, a bit flushed, hot flush. That was about it, guys. So not a massive amount to talk about, but did you want to jump on and just chat about a few things? Say hi, because I haven't done anything in a while, because really not much to talk about. But as always, let me know your thoughts on everything I've talked about today in the comment section. Always love to know what you guys are thinking, what you're watching, what you want me to watch, what are you excited for? What are you just like, just please stop, just don't. There's not many more of that than there is. What are you excited for? Just to say, I'm still enjoying Landman. That's dropping weekly. That's pretty good so far. So Taylor Sheridan on Paramount. Tulsa King season 2, absolutely now the ending. Love that. Go watch season 1 and 2 if you haven't. Stallone's absolutely awesome in it. Fantastic. I don't think what else I might have reviewed. I need to give you a full wrap up on Cross. Yeah, I finished Cross. It was pretty good. It was okay. It kind of feels like it's trying to be a bit of a American Luther, and it's not quite, hasn't got that grittiness to it. But the ending, the last episode was pretty good actually, and with a sort of slight twist, because as I said, there was like 2 different storylines running. So who's his stalker, who killed his wife, and the whole serial killer piece. So all those threads come together. So in terms of that story, it's all kind of wrapped up. So if there isn't a season 2, you've not got this massive cliffhanger. If there is a season 2, then obviously, yeah, they can go ahead and make whatever stories they want. Oh, the other thing you had an announcement on is Reacher season 3 coming early next year. Is it February, I think? I'm so excited for that. Looking forward to a trailer for that. That should be great. So there's a few things out there. Gentleman has been renewed. Rivals has been renewed. I loved Rivals. It's not really something I'm getting to on this channel, because I think most of my fan base would give a flying doodah about Jilly Cooper's Rivals. Sorry, guys. Sorry, not sorry. Absolutely loved it. It is on Disney Plus, unfortunately. But Jilly, if anybody's aware of Jilly Cooper's novels from the 80s, this is set in the 80s. They were a little bit like the British version of Jackie Collins kind of thing. So it's all sort of British hoi polloi, doing rude things and scheming and backstabbing. But it was great. It's great. It's set in the 80s and it's ballsy like the 80s, and it was made quite like an 80s show. I mean, there was sex in it. I mean, blimey, and boobs. Who knew? Great fun. sure it's not. You guys are not the target audience for it, but I loved it. So, but anyway, that's been renewed. So there's a few things out there, but as we know, the season 2s can always go off a cliff, especially like Netflix and people like that. So we always have to wait and see. Nothing is a done deal. Hey ho. Oh, of course, and we've got Squid Game season 2 coming Boxing Day, 26th of December. Initial reviews came out today. So far, they're looking good. But this is the media, right? Mainstream media. When you've got the mainstream media voting The Rings of Power the best show of 2024, forgive me if I have no faith in them saying Squid Game Part 2 is good. I like to think because it's Korean, it will be good. Hellbound season 2 was very good. Nailed it. Go check that out. It's another really great sort of supernatural Korean show. So I'm keeping everything crossed, but I literally put no weight whatsoever in the mainstream media telling me that Squid Game Part 2 is good, when they can look with a straight face saying that Game Radar was its best one. I think Variety said Rings of Power is the 4th best show this year. Like, what planet are they on? Which brings me to, obviously, I will be doing, I know we do a Christmas Eve show. I still have plans to do that unless anything changes. And I'll also do like my wrap up of sort of top 5 shows, films this year, highs and lows. So as per normal. So hopefully I will be able to get on and chat to you before Christmas Eve if there's stuff to chat about. But if not, that'll be my next one. But I'm pretty sure I can probably think of something to come and talk to you about. Or Hollywood or celebrities are always doing something bonkers or saying something bonkers. You know, oh gosh, I forgot. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to wrap up. But it's the news that obviously Chris Evans is coming back to the MCU. Potentially not as Cap. Now, I'm just saying what everybody else is saying, and I'm not saying it because everybody else is saying it, but I think MCU is so bereft of any new ideas, of anything clever right now, that everybody's like, well, the obvious thing is he's going to come back as the Yahtzee Captain America, as a member of Hydra. If they do, I mean, come on. I mean, if people are saying this now, they can see it coming a mile away. It didn't. That storyline didn't do well in the comics. They had to retcon the whole thing. Nobody wants to see that, right? We keep saying, like, you know, maybe the winds of change are blowing and Hollywood will read the room. If you bring in Captain America as a Hydra agent, that's not reading the room, guys. Really not. But again, we'll have to wait and see. But nobody will be shocked if that's what they turn out and do, because I say they're creatively bankrupt, and it seems like the obvious thing that Hollywood would do just to piss everybody off. And we know Chris Evans is politics because we know everybody's bloody politics, so they can't keep it to themselves. He's the kind of guy who'd be right behind portraying that kind of Captain America. So that's it. That's it now. I think that's it. Yeah, Skeleton Crew. Nah, nothing burger. Inoffensive kids show. Fine. So far. That's it. That's a review. Anyway, guys, take care. I will definitely try and there must be stuff I can come and talk to you about, even if it's Christmas films. I'll come on, maybe do some Christmas films. What's my top 5 or top 10 Christmas films or something like that before Christmas Eve. So you will take care. Don't let the madness of December overwhelm you. Come and have a break. Come check out the channel. Go watch some old videos, some of my reviews. Chill out, kick back, and have a great December. And I'll be back soon. So you take care now. Bye-bye.